So hi, welcome back. My name is Jodie, artist named MillieJo, and this channel is called LovelyMillie because your host here trying to make life a bit more lovely. Growing up, I always had this love for art, but I don't know why I never considered it like something that I could do all my life. This was just something that others could do, but on my part, it could never be nothing other than a side hustle. It took me to study in architecture for almost 4 years before realizing that what I truly wanted was to follow my own creative path. And this path for me looked like having a YouTube channel, being an art small business owner, and an author. I am now confidently walking down this path and building my dream life, but that could have never happened if I didn't have these realizations a year ago that I am going to share with you in this Becoming Her episode. So get comfortable, stay open-minded, and let's get started. So the first realization that I'm gonna talk about is to not be scared of using your talents. I think as creative, we often don't really see our talents as talents because it's something that we always have done growing up. Like, for example, drawing or painting or doing crochet. It's just something that you grew up with, and there's just so many other people too who does it. So what makes you different from all the other people? Like, why you out of the others would succeed in it when there's so many different people trying to succeed in it too. So often what happens with comparison and watching just other artists, we often belittle ourselves and kind of hid these talents so that they just become hobbies or nothing more than that, just something that you like to do but not something grander. And I'm not talking about if it's not something that you're trying to turn into your success story or something that you're trying to turn into your life goal or something that you want to make money from, then it's okay. But if it's an ambition that you always had and you just want to live the full potential of it, I think there's no reason to hide it. On that, what I also want to say is that I think that we all have a gift in us. I do believe that God has gifted us all with something, with this thing that we always come back to, this thing that we never forget and that we always love and that we always love to do. Or maybe it's something new that you really love to do and you just know that this thing, you love it so much, so you don't even see the talent that you have in it, or you don't even see it as something that you could turn into your life mission or your life goal, because it's just something that comes so natural for you to do. You never thought about it more than that. It's like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. It's just natural for you to do. So how could you turn it into something more? And that makes me think of the parable of talents. You know, you shouldn't hide your talents, but you should use them at their full potential and not be scared of showing your talents, not be scared of believing that you are talented and that a lot of other people too are talented in the same thing as you are. But it doesn't mean that you have to hide yourself and let the others shine, but you have a place to shine. And the thing is that nobody else is gonna make the choice for you but yourself. You're the one who gets to choose if this talent you want to use it as your life mission, if you want to use it to actually make money from it, to live your life doing this thing that you love, because at the end of the day you are the architect of your life and this is something that nobody else can take from you. And I want to cross this subject with my past, how I was in architecture school and what made me realize that this was not what I wanted for my life. And there's two big things that happened to me when I started my 4th year that made me realize that I was not walking down a path that I really wanted. And the first thing was really like at the beginning of my 4th year, one of my teachers was like, okay, so like, what is your motivation? He was talking to the class. What is your motivation to wake up every morning and to come to school? And I know some of y'all live far from school, so what is your motivation every morning when you get up to come here? And my mind just went blank. There's nothing that would come, no motivation to actually pursue this thing. And I was praying in my heart that he wouldn't ask me, because if he asked me, I would say nothing. I can't think of anything. I'm sorry, I can't answer, because I really couldn't answer it. And you know, he was just asking some people in the class and they were putting their hands up and answering, and I was listening to that and I was like, wow, okay. So that was the first big shock for me. And throughout the year that I was in architecture this year, I was always thinking about the question and just nothing would come in mind. It wasn't just in that instant, but it stayed in my mind. And the second thing is in the same class, but a bit later in the year, in architecture, we do plans, architecture plans, and we use programs like AutoCAD or Revit, and we do that. And there was this big plan, like it was really big, of I don't know which building, that the teacher was showing on paper. Like he had papers and all on a big table, and I remember like all the class was watching, well, almost all the class, they were watching, and they were actually like, they looked passionate, asking questions, and they found it pretty interesting. And I remember just being there and being like what's even interesting in that? Like I just want to go, like when the class is gonna be over. And this was my second big realization. I was like, okay, I am not at the right place. I remembered that at the end of the day, I am the architect of my life, and if I don't step out myself, if I don't go and do what I truly want to do, well, I will just keep moving with the flow in a direction that I don't want to go, when I am the one that can stop the boat and put it in another direction. And that was my big realization, and I think we all have moments like this in life. And what you do with these moments, when you realize it, that you're not at the right place, if you decide to keep walking down the path that you know, that you can feel in your heart, that you can feel in your body, that it's not the right place, well, that's on you. But if you realize it and you're like, even though it's scary, you decide to follow the path that is calling you, then that's on you too. And I know that this is scary because it's like meeting your true self and actually showing yourself, showing your true thought. And this is scary because I think that when you realize what you truly want to do in life, it's very something that is personal. It's personal to you, personal to what you've done. It's your life mission, and to show yourself is not always easy like that, because first you have to show yourself to yourself, and then to your close ones, your family. Sometimes it's your parents, sometimes it's friends, just because you are changing directions. So of course other people around you are gonna notice it, so you have to actually show yourself to make it real, right? And to take actions. And with showing yourself, there's also another point that I really want to talk about. I don't know for you, but for me, art is really a way to talk about how I'm feeling, to just put my feelings. I really put my feelings in art. So art can be something that is super personal, and this thing that is super personal to you, there's showing it to your family members and to your friends, that's one thing, but when you want to share it with the world, that's another thing. And it can be super scary, and the same way that it can begin a dream, it can end it in the same way. Because often, no matter what creative dream you have, a dream is a dream, and when you don't touch it, it stays a dream. But when you take action on it and you actually walk towards it, well, if it doesn't work out, then it's not a dream anymore, right? You can't dream about it anymore because you tried it and you failed. So it's like if it's taking your dream away. And I know that that's a possibility, and it's super scary, and that comes with showing yourself and receiving criticisms or people liking your art. You never know what is going to be the reaction, and you never know what's actually going to happen. So at the end of the day, no matter how scary it is, you still have to move, and you still have to do it, because if you just wait for the storm to pass and you just wait and wait, that's what you will be doing all your life, waiting. And now the last point that I actually want to talk about is, I keep mentioning creative as a creative, because I think there's really a different ways to be creative in life. There's not just one answer or one way to be creative. Like some can be painting, drawing, crochet, even content creation, tattoo. They're just so many different types of art, like writing. And the one thing that is super important also when you start to show yourself is that if you're like me, a multi-passionate creative, is that you have to choose one thing. And I have a little backstory for that, because when you have to choose one thing and pursue it, it can be super scary, and I know it pretty well. I want to talk about the backstory. Is actually from when I was really younger, like 9-10 years old. I used to be a basketball player. I loved to play basketball. I was a super sportive child. Like I was playing in 2 different basketball teams, and I was taking swimming classes. And then I changed cities, and then I was playing basketball less. And when it was time to choose a high school, it was either I went to the high school that all my cousins were going, or I went to the high school to play basketball and to become a basketball player, which was one of my dreams when I was younger. And I followed my cousin instead of pursuing this passion of mine. And why I'm talking about this is that every choices that you make, good or bad, you will lose something out of it and you will gain something out of it. So what I gained is that I went to high school with my cousins, which is not something that I regret, but what I lost is basketball that I really loved, and it's something that I left behind. It's the same thing with art. When I stopped school, when I dropped out of my program to figure out what I wanted to do, I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but living my dream life, what I saw is a YouTube channel and being an art small business owner and being an author, and I had to make a decision. But for a long time I didn't make a decision. This is actually why this is actually my second YouTube channel, because I was pivoting a lot, and in this channel I really founded myself, which I'm super happy about. But there's a decision at a certain point that has to be done, and for me I came to a decision, and this is what you have to do, because if you don't make a choice and pursue it for at least a year and try to make something out of it and do your best, well, you will always be like working on this, working on that, working on that, working on that, and nothing will work out because you'll be putting your energy everywhere. And as a creative, it doesn't mean that you have to forget about this dream of yours, but you have to focus on one thing, and when this thing is done, or you have brought it at the first step that you really wanted to bring it, then after you can maybe come back to other stuff, and maybe you became better at it because you can still work on it in the background. And what I want to say also, personally, I made my choice, and my choice was to become an author, and I saw that writing is really the thing that I can't go without, and the thing that I always go back to, and that I have always done. I love creating stories, and I know with all these trials and errors, that's what I figured out. And when I figured out this, my dream of being an art small business owner didn't go away. Being an author was what I wanted to become, but before I sincerely just focused on that, I decided to be an art small business owner for a year, and I'm still in this year before I just focus on being an author. And this is why literally in this channel we talk creativity, and when I say creativity, you know I mean all type of arts. All creative are welcome in this channel, so if you're a creative, you're so very welcome. And we talk purpose and self-improvement, a bit like you saw in this video. These are really the subjects that are going on in this channel. So if these are subjects that you're interested in and you'd like to see other videos like this, or just creative video, I'm sure you can find your place here, so you're so very welcome. And before we leave each other, I would ask you, what type of art do you like? If you're a creative, what type of art do you do drop it in the comments so I can see what my besties like, and I can see in next content what type of content I can do. And on that, we actually reached the end of the video of this becoming her video. So I'll see you besties in the next one, and don't forget to subscribe if you liked the video, and turn on your notification to not miss the next one. So that's it for me. I'll see you besties in the next one. Bye bye.